Hello everyone. Now we will go through the summary of this short story. This is a story of a young girl named Anne Frank who was a Jewish girl. And this chapter or story is an excerpt from her autobiography, The Diary of a Young Girl. In this lesson, Anne talks about being lonely and having no one to talk to despite being surrounded by family and around 30 people whom she called her friends. Thus, she takes the decision of writing her feelings in a diary. It is unusual for her to write in a diary, but she is really in need of a true friend. And at one place, she gives a quote that paper has more patience than human beings. Thus, she decides to name her diary Kitty, and unlike other people, she is not going to mention just facts in it. She starts with writing her background to make it easier to understand for everyone who reads it later. She describes her family and early childhood when they all migrated, her early schooling, etc. After giving a brief account of her background, she comes to the present day where she tells us about the result day. Everyone in the class is nervous about their result, and boys are even making bets. Anne was quite sure about herself and her friends. She had a good equation with all the teachers except her maths professor, Mr. Kissing, who was constantly annoyed at her for her talking habits because the narrator was in the habit of talking too much. While talking about her grades, he gave her more homework as punishment. First punishment was to jot down an essay on the topic chatterbox, which the narrator felt strange. She visualized the topic and agreed to present tangible statements in spot of speaking. She inscribed that she would make an effort to better herself but could not abolish talking completely. The professor found it fascinating but allowed another subject after she did not improve her nature. The theme was an incorrigible chatterbox. Second time, the theme or the topic was incorrigible chatterbox, which implied a manner that was tough to improve upon. Since the professor gave her the same topic twice, she ran out of thought. She agreed to write her third topic in the pattern of a poem and wrote sarcastically. One of her friends helped her in writing this essay in the form of a poem. Luckily, the professor took it lightly because in this essay, Anne Frank presents herself as a duckling and Mr. Kissing as a duck who is just giving some extra work to his ducklings. The professor narrated the entire poem in front of the class, not only in the class, but he also narrated the entire poem in other classes also. And the writer talked uninterruptedly after this. It means the essay, third essay, which was written by Anne Frank, that was very appealing to Mr. Kissing. Instead of becoming angry or getting angry, he started cracking jokes in the classroom as Anne was in the habit of doing that. During the 2 years slated in her diary, Anne pacted with imprisonment and privation, as well as the tough and difficult problems of growing up in the difficult situations of the Holocaust. Holocaust means devastation, complete destruction. Her diary depicted a battle to define herself within this climate of pressure. Anne's diary goes without an assertion. On August 1, 1944, the edge of a seemingly natural day that leaves us with the intention of seeing another entry on another page. But though the Frank family is deceived by the Nazis and caught on August 4, 1944, Anne's diary, the compliances of a creative, friendly, a little irrelevant, and somewhat normal teenage girl, comes to a hasty and silent end. Actually, all her family members were sent to concentration camp, and most of the family members and the guests also, those who remained with them in their hiding place, that was secret annex, that was behind the office of her father's, that was behind her father's office. So this way, while she was in concentration camp at the age of 15, Anne Frank died. So theme of the story, two eminent themes of this story are: first one is the sacrifice of one human being for another. And Frank's family welcomed warmly the other members who came there to hide themselves at their hiding place. They welcomed them warmly. But the second theme, inhumanity of human beings towards others, men's inhumanity to men. Germans invaded Holland. They started torturing Jewish people, and a lot of Jewish people, almost over 6 million Jews, were killed during Second World War. So we should be sympathetic towards other. This is the theme of this story. So thank these are the character sketches of Anne Frank and Margot Frank. Just to go through these two. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.